Good morning from here. This is LWVTV, bringing you top-notch news from all over the world. Today, from Nigerian news, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last February 25, 2023 presidential election has urged the federal government to tell Nigerians how they spend the gains from subsidy removal. From the news, the candidate of the Labour Party in the February 25th, 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, has challenged the federal government to give Nigerians details of how how funds will arise from the removal of petrol subsidy are being spent. Obi, who was a guest on the online Twitter space tagged Peter Obi live on Parallel Fact in the late evening of Saturday, July 29, considered subsidy removal as an economic decision that must be thought through before the government embark on it. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has removed the subsidy on the cost of petrol to tackle, among other things, corruption in the system and save money for the government. But Obi was unconvinced, saying the appropriation of gains from the removal itself was corrupt reading. He said the Nigerians need to see the numbers and figure from the savings made from the subsidy. Petrol subsidy in Nigeria is more like a criminal setup. You cannot tell people to make sacrifices when they are seeing you live a life of a rock star and buying brand new Jeeps from all over the world at very expensive prices. Obi telling Nigerians would have done things differently in subsidy removal, and it has to be structured in phrases so that the government knows the actual subsidy component it is dealing with. Mr. Peter Obi maintained there remains so much corruption in oil sector, and the federal government needed to know each component of oil subsidy it was dealing with. For example, when you remove all these OPEC components, what you would be paying would even be 40% or less. It is when you know the components of what you are removing that you can take holistic and proper action. We have seen a former governor, Issa Yehuda, say that someone is so tired of making money from subsidy corruption that he made enough. I don't think I have ever seen someone who said he had made enough money. For someone to say that he had made enough money from true fraud, subsidy payment, that would give you a sense of the kind of corruption we are dealing with, Obi said. He expressed concern about the poor state of the nation's refineries, adding that Moduna refineries were not getting supplies of crude oil. On the agonies of Nigerians are experiencing in the aftermath of the fuel subsidy removal, he said there is a number of things we need to do in managing the situation and lessen the burden of the policies on the people. We also need to discuss the stakeholders to make it better. Obi likened the challenge in the subsidy removal to what he faced when he, as a governor in Anambra, he returned schools to their original owners. He said it was a decision that came with a lot of difficulties. But what but was one he carefully considered before the decision. People were on strike for months because of that decision, but we made sure that we went through the process carefully to mitigate the problems. There were so many things we put in place, like sustaining teacher salary payment and doing capital projects. But the original owners would take care of the administration and management of the school better. At the time I was governor, no state across the country could compare their secondary school with ours because we made it through properly. Because we thought it through properly. Go to those schools in Anambra today and see for yourself, he said. My people, like you can see from the news, what Mr. B is saying is that the government of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu should tell Nigerians the gains that are being gotten from the fuel subsidy removal, what they are spending the money on. Because we should be seeing good roads. We should be seeing the federal government paying for the administration of the federal universities and polytechnics. We should be seeing the salary of workers being increased by now. As we all know, the Nigerian Labour Congress are about going on strike because the present administration has failed to increase the salary of Nigerian workers up to date. For fuel subsidy to be removed, the money, the gain that are coming out from the fuel subsidy should be utilized well for the development of this country. A lot of Nigerians are suffering. A lot of Nigerians are out of school with no jobs. A lot of Nigerians can't afford the present prices of food in the market. Millions of Nigerians cannot afford to pay the new school fees, which the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration just increased. So I think that request by the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, is very much accurate. And I wish that the new administration of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu will look into this, because his government should be very much accountable to Nigerians. He is there to serve Nigerians. Thank you. This is LWT TV.